Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
So now most of you would have worked out what the word Suchaji means, because we went through the word Kuchaji. So basically the opposite to Kuchaji. So now, but remember, so hopefully you would have gotten to know this character, who this Kuchaji is. And some of us may have even felt her inside of us and felt like we've got a lot of similarities with her. And so now we're looking at the development. So the way she's going to develop now from a Kuchaji to a Suchaji is what she did right at the end of the Shabad. So can you remember what was her turning point, and what was it that she did for her to have this turning point? What was that she did? What was that last two pangtiyan? So the last two pangtiyan were Tod gun main sab avgana ek nanak ki ardas jiyo. So she, remember, she went through this whole thing of surrendering, that Tod gun, that all the virtues belong to you, that all the ogan and all the bad points from me, Tod gun main sab avgana, all the ogan, all the sins belong to my I. So what that's actually saying is that all the bad qualities belong to my ego. And once I start renouncing my ego, then only you will be left, and you are only virtuous. Developing, so from that pangti, Tod gun main sab avgana ek nanak ki ardas jiyo, sab rati suhagni main dohagan kai rat jiyo. So that's what we finished off at. And that was a turning point when she kind of fell and saying to Vaheguruji, oh Vaheguruji, that I've got no qualities, I'm surrendering, I'm just doing ardas to you now, just to give me one night with you. And giving me that one night, what she means by that is just let me experience that love for you. Give me that experience. So developing from that now, now comes the Suchaji. So the word so comes up many times in Gurbani as well, and which can be translated in a few different ways. So has also been translated to Sresht, and Sresht meaning superior, great, good. And then so has also been translated to Sundar, to beautiful. And then Judge, which we already looked at, so is Acharan meaning somebody's conduct and manner, the way somebody is. And the word the Acharan part comes from the Sanskrit language, so moral character. And Chaji, so the Bihari makes it a feminine word. Okay, so we'll try and learn a little bit of grammar as well when we can. So Suchaji, a woman with good conduct. But in this actual Bani itself, we'll learn that who a Suchaji really is, and how deep it is to be a Suchaji, that bride that is full of virtues and is pleasing to her husband. But that again is translated very simply. But a Suchaji, as we'll learn going through this Bani, is somebody that has learned to live in Vaheguruji's Bana, in Vaheguruji's will. And we'll learn a little bit about Bana in a while. So the first pangti of this Bani, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paat is saying that Ja tu ta main sabko. So make note of the bisrams as well. So bisram literally meaning rest, and then meaning the poses. So Guru Sahib says Ja tu, first pose there, Ja tu ta main sabko, tu sahib meri ras jiyo. So we can go through some of the words. Guru Ja obviously meaning when, and then ta then, and then sabko everything or everyone. And the reason why we've got two different translations for sabko here is because people have translated it in two different ways. So some people have translated it to everything and some to everyone. It can make quite a difference to the arth itself, to the translation itself, and we'll look at both ways. And then Ras we already went through, and Ras meaning capital wealth, what somebody has got. And then Jio, which has been coming throughout even Kuchaji and the Bani, and it all ends with Jio, making it obviously poetic. And Jio just basically it's Sanman Bodhak. Sanman Bodhak basically is when you address someone with respect. And over here, we could translate it. It doesn't have to be exactly this, but so Jio could be translated to Oh my Waheguruji. And I think in most of the English translations, in Sikhi to the Max, they've translated it to Oh my Lord, I think. Professor Sahib Singh uses Hey Mere Prabhu. And so Jio, that it's down to you, however you feel your relationship with Waheguruji. You can kind of create that word and that name for Waheguruji. Who wants to try and kind of just make a sentence of this now? Ja tu. So there's a pause there. Ja tu. Ta main sabko. Tu sahib meri ras jiyo. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, yep. So that is the common art that is done to this Pangati. Most of the people that have translated it to everything. And so who can now try and remember back to Kachajji and now think how this relates to Kachajji? Because remember, she's evolving now, she's developing. And what was she stuck in? What was her issue? Can you remember?
She fell in love with things rather than the provider of the things.
Yep. So she was stuck in the mandar, mitti, sandade, patthar kite ras jiyo. She made all these things, the mansions and everything else, into her capital, into her wealth. Manak moti, all these maniks, all the jewelry that she had received from her husband, she had attached herself to those. But now this is saying, it's like when you come to this realization and you think, oh my God, that if I had just realized this pehla, that jatu, if I had just completely given myself to you, if I had you with me all the time, jatu, ta main sabko, I would have had everything anyway. And instead of me trying to ask for one little thing from you at a time, but I could have just had everything all in one go. Jatu ta main sabko. So when you've got the master, you've got everything that the master owns as well. That belongs to that master as well. And that always reminds me of the Sakhi of Bhai Sattam Balabandji, which I won't go into in detail. And when Bhai Sattam Balabandji, when they were asking Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sache Paatshah Ji for some money because they needed to wed off their sister, some say it was one of their daughters. And instead of asking, all they had to do was say Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah Ji, like they could have just done Benti to Paatshah Ji to attend the wedding and say if you come, but they didn't have that realization to think that if Guru Arjan Dev Ji comes, that we've got everything anyway. But instead, their eye was in the donations, in the peta, and the offerings that come to the Guru's house. And they were saying to Guru Sahib Ji that we want all the offerings that come on the Sangran day, because a lot of Sangat comes that day. But realizing how small that is and how big Guru Arjan Dev Ji was, having Guru Arjan Dev Ji, they would have had everything. So this always reminds me of that concept of when we ask for something, we end up asking for things that are so small instead of just asking for our Guru. So this in that sense is saying, when I'm saying that, when I've got you, I've got everything. So I'll just read out the translation and just keeping in mind, remember what we said about the whole thing about the brackets. I've not done it throughout, but I've done it in some places just to give that example that when you do start to read other translations, there is a lot of more now becoming available in English as well. People have started to do steeks, and you'll find this style where people put a lot of things in brackets. And why they're doing that is when they're just going away from the literal Pangti itself, and then they're giving you what they feel is in between the words. So over here saying, so Oh my Waheguruji, which is the Geo part, we've just taken that from the end and now put it to the front. So saying, Oh my Waheguruji, when I have you, then I have everything. You, Waheguruji, my master, are my capital. So this then Gurbani talks about this many times, and Guru Sahib Ji saying, Ja tu mere wal hai ta kya moh shanda. That's saying that when I have you beside me, then what have I got to worry about that I've got everything beside me anyway. Tud sab kich mainu sompya ja tera banda. And this pankti always amazes me, and I find this pankti amazing. Guru Sahib ji saying, Tud sab kich mainu sompya. That over here Guru Sahib ji saying, Waheguru ji, you have given me everything, ja tera banda, but on a condition. Saying, but when I became your banda, and banda means slave, Guru Sahib ji saying, when I became your slave, that you handed everything over to me, you gave me everything, you gave me all the responsibility. Tud sab kich mainu sompya. Again, when I read this pankti, it reminds me of this. So, you know, very famously in India, what would happen is it'd be a big thing in who the malikan was of the property and of the house. And a lot of the time, that once that the daughter-in-law was able to please her family, then the mother-in-law would come and hand the keys over and say, Aaj to tu malikan hai is ghar di. So you are now in charge, that you take care of this house now, everything's in your hands. Or a father doing that to his son and saying that, now you've made me proud and I can see that I can trust you and you've served well, and here you go, here's the keys to the house and now you take over. And this is basically what Guru Sahib ji is saying here, saying that when you become my banda, when you become, Guru Sahib ji saying, when we become the bande, the slave of Akal Purkh Waheguru ji, then to the sab kich mainu sompya, Waheguru ji will hand everything over to us anyway. And I always think, and I always take that concept, and it reminds me of Guru Gobind Singh ji Paat ji and their relationship with their Sikh. That when I remember going back a few years ago, and I walked into a group of Singhs having a conversation. One Singh, I can remember this, one Singh saying that, he goes, "Mainu ta dar bahut lagda." He goes, "Mainu ta dar bahut lagda." He goes, "Inni zummewari sade sir upar saump ditti Guru Sahib ji ne." Because Guru Sahib ji has given us such a big responsibility. And he said, and he was saying, he picked up his Qur'an and he goes to the Singhs. He goes, "This isn't just a weapon." He goes, "This shastar ne ga galla." He goes, "This isn't just a Qur'an and a weapon." He goes, "This is actually the keys to the house of the Khalsa Panth that Guru Sahib ji, that Guru Gobind Singh ji Paat ji has handed us over." He said, "Wearing this is like when you're getting passed over those keys to look after the house." He goes, "It's a big responsibility. Now we're taking that responsibility to take over and look after this Panth that Guru Sahib ji has created." These are all the ideas that just come from my mind. I'm just literally sharing with you guys that when I look at a pankti and all these things that just come kind of rushing into my head, different pankti and different parts of Bani that just come running into my head. And then, but this can be a bit overwhelming sometimes because it should be, whoa, everything. Like, Sara kush mere ko la jana. And then, but our intention can become a bit wrong then. So somebody might think, you know what? Because I want all of these things, because I want this, then that's why I'm going to serve my Guru. That's why I'm going to serve Waheguru ji now. And then what they've got is this expectation in their mind that when I start serving Guru Sahib ji, when I start serving Akal Purkh ji, then obviously all the things that I've ever wanted, whether it's status in my workplace, whether it's a house, whatever it is materialistically, or I just want to have a bit of power, you know, that people listen to me, I want to have this control, that within my household, whatever it is, you've got all these things, all these wants people want. And they're thinking, you know what, I'm going to serve Guru Sahib ji so I can have all of these things, because ja tu ta main sabko, because when I've got you, then I'm going to have everything anyway. But then the nishana, then the focus becomes those things. And what happens is, they start serving Guru Sahib ji, and as they're serving Guru Sahib ji, and then disappointment kicks in, because they're thinking, wait there, I've still not achieved that, I've still not got this, I've still not got that status, I've still not got that house I wanted, I've still not got a son, I've still not got this, still not got that, whatever it may be. And we're thinking, now what? And we sometimes end up basing our whole faith in Guru Sahib ji upon those things. But Guru Sahib ji says, Kande, yaad rakhiyo, das bastu le, that if Waheguru ji has given us 10 things already, das bastu means things, das bastu le, pache pave, and then we put those behind us, forget about them, that we've even been given those things, das bastu le, pache pave, ek bast karn bakhot gavave. Then Guru Sahib ji say that ek bast karan, because you wanted one particular thing, gawave, that you lose your faith in Guru Sahib Ji, and you forget that those 10 things have actually been given by Guru Sahib Ji anyway, but because you really wanted that one thing, remember that one thing could be, even it could be in the sense of sometimes somebody is taken away from us, a loved one is taken away from us. So it might not be necessarily that we're asking for something in particular, but it could be that we're attached to someone in our life, that person goes, they pass away for example, and then we don't accept it. And then we're saying to Vaheguruji, how could you do that to me? And that also could be, das bas tu le pache pave, ek bast kan bekot gavave, ek pi na de, das pi hirle. But Guru Sahib Ji saying that remember that Akal Purkh that has given you those 10 things and you're crying over that one thing and you've lost your faith. So remember that Malik, that Master has the power to take those 10 things away from you as well. Then what will you do? To muda kaho kaha kare. Then oh fool, what will you do then? So sometimes we get these things wrong, and because of the translations our mind falls into thinking like that as well. But what this actually means is Sacha naam Adar mera jin pukha sab gawaiyan. So because these words are plural, that's why some people tend to add bindiya to these words like pukham, because it's many hungers, and then gawaiyan, so to lose all these hungers. Guru Sahib Ji saying that actually what this meant is that Sacha naam Adar mera jin pukha sab gawaiyan. That what happens is that kar shant sukh man aaye vasya jin ichha sab pujaiyan. Pujaiyan means that when all my desires are fulfilled. And again, when we read something like this, our mind starts to think that, you know what, with Naam, that my buk's going to go, that my hunger's going to go. How am I going to lose my hunger? Because I'm going to be given all what I desired. Karsant Sukhmana Ayavasya. He's fulfilled all my desires. That means whatever I wanted, I got. And I know some of you thinking, well, no, I don't see it like that. But a lot of people do end up seeing it like that. But what Guru Sahib Ji is actually saying is that when you've got Guru Sahib Ji, when you've got Vaheguru Ji, then you don't feel the need for certain things that you felt the need for before. So your desires in that sense go, because you start to dwell in contentment. When Guru Sahib Ji says Ichha sab pujaiyan, that all your desires are filled, mean that you've been blessed now with the gun, with the virtue of contentment. You know, and I was thinking about this as well. I was doing this vichar, that sometimes we say to someone, I've said it many times, that you know what, you should be content. You should find contentment. You should be compassionate. That actually doesn't make a lot of sense when I think about it now, because these things are actually avasthas. To be in contentment is actually a state of mind, and it's something we have to achieve and get to. It's not something you can pretend to have. We've either got it or we haven't, and we can't pretend to have it. But what we can do is practice it. So it might not be real, but Guru Sahib Ji, when Guru Sahib Ji see that we're making an effort, so I'll give you a quick example. Imagine now there's many people, they'll say that feeding people that are hungry is a compassionate act. But the truth is, there might be people out there that go out to feed somebody that's hungry and have got no compassion towards those people. They might only be doing that act because they're thinking this is a good act to do, and I'll get some points for this. Or they're just doing it for whatever reason. I'm not saying this is why people feed people, I'm just saying this is one example. And so for that reason, they might not be feeding out of compassion. Compassion, to have compassion inside is a state of being, is an avastha to reach. It's a quality that we can't pretend to have. We've got it or we haven't got it. But through doing service, there's an opportunity that something can be sparked inside of us. When Guru Sahib Ji sees that we're taking that one step, that charan sharan gur ek penda jai chal, Guru Sahib Ji seeing that we're taking that effort, making that one step forward towards trying to become compassionate, and then Guru Sahib Ji might bless us with that daat of the virtue of compassion as well. So we should not be fooled in thinking that it means that we get all those actual physical things that we desired. It could be that we might even lose our job. We might give ourselves to Guru Sahib, and we're thinking, I want that status in my job, and we go and give ourselves to Guru Sahib, and then we end up losing our job instead, and we're thinking, ki ho gaya? What's happened here? This isn't what I thought. I thought it wouldn't. I didn't think it was going to run like this. So it meant that Guru Sahib is going to take away our desires and bless us with contentment. Anyway, let's move on. So we'll carry on looking at this line though. Ja tu ta main sab ko, tu sahib meri rastiyu. Professor Sahib Singh, a twist he's given on it, the way he's looked at it. So Professor Sahib is saying, so O Prabhu, remember like how we said that Jio, that's how he's translated Jio. So O Prabhu, when you are on my side with me, then everyone gives me respect. So he's actually given the translation to say gives me respect when you're on my side. Then I've added this from myself, that all is on my side. So basically that like he's saying that when you give me respect, that when you are on my side with me, then everyone gives me respect. But the other way of looking at it is to say then everybody is on my side. So when I've got Waheguruji with me, then everybody else is on my side as well. Again, this can get a little bit confusing, but we'll try and understand it and go through it. But because even that concept, thinking, well, does everybody give me respect? Yeah, is that really true? Did everyone give Guru Arjan Dev Ji respect? Was everybody on Guru Arjan Dev Ji's side? So Guru Arjan Dev Ji was made to sit on a tatti tavi on a hot burning plate. And look at all these Shaheed Singhs as well. Look at all these things that all Guru Sahib Jis went through. Does that mean that everybody was on their side because they had Waheguruji on their side? But Gurbani is saying this again. When we look at these panktiyas, sometimes we get confused. So then saying that you are my master, you are my wealth, but trying to understand this, what is this actually saying? That Ja tu ta main sab ko, tu sahib meri rastiyu. And what this is actually saying is that Ja tu ta main sab ko, that ta main sab ko meaning that now everybody is on my side. In which way? How does everybody become on my side? Can anybody think of any panktiyan that kind of relate to this? Yeah, so that's one of the panktiyan, na ko bari nahi begana. So just in case I've like confused anyone, I'll just clarify before we go on forward. I'll just clarify what I was saying before. So one way of looking at Jatun, that when I've got you, that Jatun ta main sab ko, then everyone is on my side. When you're on my side, everyone is on my side. But how is that possible to have everyone on my side? What must I do first to have everyone on my side? Does it literally mean that everyone becomes my friend? Yeah, so we're getting closer now. So the first pankti that comes in Gurbani, in Guru Granth Sahib Ji's Bani, that explains this concept. Anybody know? But the one I thought of was I panthi sagar jamati man jeete jagjit. And then when Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pacha was asked this question, that I panthi, that they said to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, this is what panth do you belong to? What group do you belong to? And they said, out of our groups of yogis, of these yogis, they said we've got 12 groups. And they said the highest group out of them, out of these 12 groups, are that panth, that group is called the I. So that's a name of a group of yogis. So Guru Sahib Ji said, they said the group that I belong to, they said is I Panthi Sagar Jamati. And those of you that have kind of studied in India and stuff, that you'll understand this word straight away, what Jamati means. So Jamati often would be referred to as somebody that was in your class. And I used to often hear my dad say this word and say, "Eh, mera Jamati siga." And just meaning your school friend is somebody that was in the same class as you. So they're saying that I Panthi Sagar Jamati. Guru Sahib is saying that see the brotherhood of all mankind as the highest order. So what that basically means is Guru Sahib is saying that for me, the whole of mankind is my group. The whole human mankind is my, I'm a group, Guru Nanak Dev Ji saying, Kande ai panthi sagal jamati man jeete jag jeet. This is, but how did that happen? This is, how was I able to see the whole of this humanity as being as part of my group, meaning that I see everyone to be the same and a part of me. They said, how did I do that? They said, man jeete. They said, that was when I went over my own mind. Man jeete jag jeet. That's when I went over the world. There's two ways of looking at this. They're saying winning over your mind is as difficult as somebody conquering the world. If somebody's to conquer the entire world, they said that's how difficult it is to win over your mind. The other way to look at it is that man jeete jag jeet, that same concept what we've talking about, jaatun tama sabko, that now that I've won over my mind, that everybody is on my side. But in which way? Just to understand that. Again, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Pachi explained this and expand on this concept. They're saying that Atam Jine Sagal Vasta ke Jaka Satguru Pura. This is the same concept of Man Jeete Jagjit. The word Jine, what does the word Jine mean? Anybody? Jine? What does Jine mean? You're trying to work it out from the translation? What would you think it meant as soon as you heard this word? Jine? Sorry? Who? When? Win. Oh, win. That's it. So jene with an ana means to conquer, to win. If it was with a nanna, jene, then it would be like jenane, those. So these little letters make that much of a difference in Gurbani. So Guru Sahib Ji saying Atam jene. What do we translate Atam to? I'm sure we've gone through this before. So what would you translate Atam to? Sorry? Soul. Anything different? What's it translated to in this translation? Yeah, it's translated to soul. So the word Atam, a lot of people get caught out with this because it's translated as soul. It actually doesn't mean soul. Majority of the time when Atam comes up without a kanna, so Atama would always be soul. Atam will only be soul very few times. So then, majority of the time, Atam is what? Mind. Man, referring to our mind. Okay, so that translation is actually wrong. Okay, so the reason I still keep it up is it's just that you'll remember this now, and then you won't get caught out again. Okay, so Guru Sahib is saying, Atam jane, when I conquered my mind, sagal vastake, then everybody came on my side. Sagal vas means like when you get somebody on your side. Sagal, everyone sagal vasta ke jaka satguru pura. I was only able to do this when I had the perfect guru behind me. So now winning over your mind means like my kaam, krodh, lobh, mohankar, my anger and everything else isn't actually controlling me anymore. Now I'm controlling them. Okay, so because I've won over my mind now, the vikar and everything else that was disturbing me can't disturb me anymore because I've conquered that now. So I'm actually controlling them now. I'm in control. I've got power now. Atam jane sagal vasta ke jaka sadgur pura. This is all to understand jatu tama sabko. That when I've got you on my side, tama sabko, then I've got everyone on my side. But as we know that there was many people that were against Guru Arjan Dev Ji, against Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, against Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Paatshah Ji. So then what does that mean? Just to try and explain this a little bit better, what this is now kind of developing into how this works and what happens. And I know somebody already touched on this earlier. This amazes me, this Pangati does. Guru Sahib Ji says that man apne te bura mitana. What Bani is this from? Just make sure everyone's awake. Sorry? Excellent. Okay. Ekta hega aaj jagde hane. So Guru Arjan Dev Ji in Sukhmani Sahib is saying man apne te bura mitana, saying when I took out all the buriyaiyan, all these kind of evil thoughts, all these negative thoughts, when I took them out of my own mind, that rubbish that was sitting in my mind, man apne te bura mitana, then what happened? Pekhe sagar srisht sajana. They said then as I looked upon the world, pekhe sagar srisht sajana, the whole world became my friend. What Guru Arjan Dev Ji means by this is they didn't necessarily see me as a friend, but I now see everyone else as a friend. That's what it means to have everyone on your side. It means that you don't oppose anyone now. You actually see everyone as one now. That doesn't mean you won't fire an arrow at them, and you still might kill someone, as Guru Sahib Ji did. But Guru Sahib Ji they didn't oppose anyone from inside of their mind. Guru Sahib Ji had no enemies. Can you imagine being in that state of mind of when you actually pekhe Sagal Shrestha Sajana, Guru Sahib Ji sees the whole world as their friend. They oppose nobody because they got no bariyai, they got no negativity inside of themselves, but they're still able to do the right thing, and if need be, to stop somebody from sinning, and Guruji even needs to pierce them with an arrow and kill that physical body. Guru Sahib Ji is able to do that, but still see them as a friend and not as an enemy. So this is all about what's in our mind. It's not about that everybody starts to see us as a friend. It doesn't mean that they might not, they still probably do see us as an enemy, but we don't see anyone as an enemy no more. That's what it means to have Waheguruji on our side and to have everyone on our side. So again, it's about a state of mind. It's a very high state of mind, and to try and to even go into it in further detail, then I don't think we'll be able to get off the first pankti. But I'm sure everybody's getting the gist. Okay? And the pankti that Veerji brought up by Guru Arjan Dev Ji. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says that Bisar gai sab taat parai. They said all my taat went outside, left me. What's taat? Okay, excellent. Jealousy. So another word for jealousy is irkha as well. But often in Gurbani, the word taat is used for jealousy. And the Guru Sahib is saying, Bisar gai sab taat parai. And parai means?
Others.
Sorry?
Other people.
That's it, for others. Okay, so simple. Guru Sahib is saying, Bisar gai sab taat parai. When jab te sad sangat mohe pai. They said, from that moment I had sad sangat, they said that's it. This is my jealousy for others went. So now this starts to show that what actually is sad sangat. Is sad sangat a particular type of person doing sangat of a particular person? Sad sangat is when our own man starts to get sadhya hoya. Sadhya means when it starts to come in control. Sad means to control something. Koi cheez no sadhana, Bhai Gurdas ji talk about it as well. That no darwaje sad. Sad sadaya. They said that person that has controlled the nine gates of their body, they can then actually call themselves a sad because they've actually controlled their indriya. So Guru Arjan Dev Ji says that when I had that perfect sadhudi sangat of Guru Ramdas Ji Patsha Ji, they said myself started to get sadhya as well. So many people have got sangat of the perfect Guru Granth Sahib Ji Patsha Ji, but that doesn't mean they've yet allowed that sad sangat to come inside of them, because the nishani would be, the sign would be that my own mind would start to get sadhya, my own self would start to come in control as well. So doing sad sangat is a very high thing, and a lot of people might claim they are doing it. A lot of people claim that some of the Singhs came around or Singhniya came around and we were doing sangat. The word sangat, does anybody know what this word sangat means? So literal meaning is like with one word it means with. That's what sangat means. It was a common word used in Sanskrit. Yeah. And so meaning company as well, so who you are with. But if you break the word down, it's broken down from a Sanskrit word. So the first part comes from saying, which is talking about our actual home. Gat means when we say kisi di gati kar deni, gat kar de means to destroy someone. Gat also means to be liberated as well. But when you put these two words together from the Sanskrit meaning, it's talking about when your ego starts to get destroyed, when somebody's killing your ego. But so that is the nishani to know if we're actually doing sat sangat, if what we class as true. When we say we just done sangat and we was with a group of like-minded people, then the nishani should be that whilst I was doing vichar of sat, the truth, that my ego started to get destroyed. So Guru Sahib ji saying that Bisar gayi sab taat parai, and then they go on to say that everyone's now my friend. That na ko bari, I have no enemy, na ko bari, nahi beganna, there is no outsider for me now, na ko bari, nahi beganna, sagal sang, hamko ban ai. They said, I get on with everyone now, sagal sang, with everyone, I get on with them. They might oppose me, but I've got no problem with them. What does that mean, that they've got no problem with them? Because that moment, even though when somebody came to attack Guru Gobind Singh Ji Padsha Ji, he came with bad intentions to destroy, to kill Guru Gobind Singh Ji Padsha. But that moment, he was about to even throw and shoot an arrow towards Maharaj Ji, but his mind started to change. Guru Sahib Ji didn't think, you know what, he's come to destroy me and I'm going to destroy this guy. Who is he to bring an army to try and destroy me? Guru Sahib Ji didn't think. That moment, he surrendered in his mind, truly surrendered. Remember, Guru Sahib Ji has the ability and the power to see when somebody's truly surrendering. That moment, Guru Sahib Ji saw that he's falling from inside. Guru Sahib Ji said, "Theek hai fe. I had no problems with you anyway." That's what I mean. Guru Sahib Ji is forever forgiving. Guru Sahib Ji is always a friend to all. The moment somebody is ready, Guru Sahib Ji's got their arms open anyway. So that's one way of looking at the first pankti. So this Suchaji is saying, "Oh Vaheguru Ji, ja tu," that when I've got you, ta main sabko, then I'm in this avastha, in this state of mind, when everyone is a friend to me. Even if they oppose me, I don't oppose them. If they come to attack me, yes, I'll fight them, but I am not their enemy. So they are not an enemy to me, sorry. So that moment, if they surrender, I'm ready anyway. I'm not going to think, well, I need to take revenge because they did this to me. So even Banda Singh Bahadur, it might seem that he went to take revenge. It wasn't revenge that he went to take. What did Banda Singh Bahadur go to do? He went to destroy Wazir Khan that was still evil-minded. If he had changed, Guru Sahib Ji would have had no problem to forgive him. It wasn't that Guru Sahib Ji was being stubborn and thinking, I need to get Wazir Khan destroyed because he killed my children. No. It was because he still has that thought. He still is the same. He would still do this to other children. He still is doing the same thing to other people. So for that reason, he needs to be put down. And that's why Jahangir, he was the cause of Guru Arjan Dev Ji Padsha Ji, if you look at it on a worldly way, of Guru Sahib Ji sitting on a hot burning plate. Their own son, Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Padsha Ji, they went and met Jahangir. And they didn't destroy him because he truly had regret inside for what he had done, for the orders he had given towards Guru Arjan Dev Ji Padsha Ji. For that reason, Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Padsha Ji, even though there was left as an orphan, they let Jahangir be. So it's understanding this. This is an amazing avastha to be in. Jatun tam asabko. Everybody's on my side. So I've got no problems with anyone. Tun sahib meri ras to you. That you are my capital. That I've got everything if I've got you. Second pankti of this Bani Suchaji. Maharaj saying, Tud antar hau sukh vasa. Tu antar sabas jiyo. So Tud obviously means you. Antar inside, and then within, we could say within, and then ho, which I've put it up on the board this time because last time I just assumed everybody knows this word, but nobody, I don't think anybody did know. So ho, now everybody knows that ho means I. ठीक है? Okay. Ho means I, and remember what we said, that it doesn't always mean ho in a sense of home. It can do. It could mean ego, but not all the time. Sometimes just referring to as in like myself, me. Guru Sahib Ji saying, and then sukh we can translate to peace. Any other words? Let's have a look at sabas. It's translated in many different ways. When we look at Sikhi to the max, they often translate it to congratulations, which I don't think it's the best translation. Doesn't do it that much justice, I feel. Well done is pretty accurate, but it can come up in different contexts as well. It doesn't always mean well done. So it's a Persian word, comes from the word shah, the bash, and then lafz badal janda hai, and it changed to shabash, which just, it literally meant in Persian back then, so khush raho, it was actually a blessing, it was an assis to say stay happy. But now very often used in Punjabi as well as this saying that we've got in Punjabi, and says, "Oh tanta de yu ho gaya." Ever heard that? Yes? So there's no accurate words to describe what tanta da yog means, but probably the closest is somebody that's worthy of respect. When somebody says, "Oh tanta de yoga," so we're saying they're worthy of respect. And in this pankti, it's more so in that context, it's come as tanta de yog. That's how Amir Pandar Steek has translated it. Anybody want to put this into a sentence? So I'll just say pankti out with the bisrams. Tud antar ho sukh vasa, tu antar sa baas jiyo. Tud antar ho sukh vasa, tu antar sa baas jiyo. Do you want to put that into a sentence?
Would it be like, if I stay within your order or within your hukam, I have peace inside, then means I don't suffer, and I become worthy or worthy of respect, or something along those lines.
Yep. Yeah. It's quite simple, this is. Okay. So it's just try and get yourselves used to that. We've become so reliant on constantly needing to look at translations. It's just trying to so I'm getting you to think that when you're reading Gurbani, that your mind starts to try and work it out itself and tries to put things in a sentence itself. That's not to say not to use translations, because I still do, but then eventually, if you keep trying hard enough, you will get to a point where you can just start putting things together yourself. Especially if we pronounce things correctly and we put the pauses on at the right places, that really helps bringing out the meaning of something. So when I immerse my mind in you, Benji said that when I start living in your hukam, which is an amazing way of looking at it, which actually works with the rest of the Shabad, rest of the Bani. One way that I saw it to be was for myself, that was that when I immerse my mind in you, and that is the tud antar bit, that so mera man that tere pyar vich rangya gaya. So when you were completely immersed in love with Vaheguru Ji, that tud antar how sukh vasa, only then I find peace. There's nothing else that gives me peace other than when my mind is completely imbued in your love. That I immerse my mind in you, I abide in peace then only. So when you become manifest, so this part now when saying tu antar, because Vaheguru Ji is inside of everyone, but that doesn't mean we're at peace. That doesn't mean we feel Vaheguru Ji. Some people might even deny that nahi oh hai nahi ga, mere cha hai nahi ga, uch shayad hoga, ja uch nahi hai ga, definitely not in his, So, but over here, so we know that Vaheguru Ji is definitely exists within everyone. Kat kat mein har ju base. So we know that Guru Sahib Ji have said this in it. But over here we're saying, so what we're saying is that tu antar, meaning that when you become manifest, when I realize that you're there, when you become paragat, when something comes forth, when you're actually able to see something, and see, language just, I always feel doesn't do justice, because what does our mind start doing when we say things like this? When I can see you that you're there, it doesn't mean something's going to pop out of our heart and God's going to say, surprise. And we're always looking for this kind of form, and our mind keeps looking to create this form. And Guru Sahib Ji blesses people with darshan in many ways. In darshan meaning when we get to have that vision of Akal Purkh. Oh, Guru Sahib Ji even though Guru Sahib Ji is omnipresent and Guru Sahib Ji is Nirgun Swarup as well, which is formless, and Guru Sahib Ji is everywhere. But the concept of darshan, so when people say that they had darshan of Guru Sahib Ji, and a lot of the time we think that Guru Sahib Ji came galloping from somewhere on their horse, they were sitting in a cave somewhere, and then they came to show themselves to someone, and they think that's how darshan happens. They say Guru Sahib Ji aaye sige, kiton aaye sige, pata nahi kede ghar vich baithe si, sitting in someone's house. So a concept of one concept of darshan is this: when how I said that don't expect that something pops out from inside and somebody going surprised. There is a concept of pratak darshan as well. Pratak is when you actually see something with these eyes as well. How does that come about and where does that come from? It's from this deep desire from inside. Sometimes somebody might be in Kirtan and that shabd reminds them of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and from inside they deeply start crying out and calling out to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. But because our man has seen images and paintings of Guru Gobind Singh Ji as well, and we're calling out and we're crying out, from the desire of our mind, Akal Purkh Vaheguru Ji will do Kirpa, will bless us to have the opportunity to have that vision of that form that we've got, and we feel Guru Sahib Ji is in that particular form. So do you understand that? So I'm not saying that it's an illusion. Yes, it could be created from our mind, but it's still being created out of our own desire. But it's a good desire, it's not a bad desire. So even though it's created from so it's not that Guru Sahib Ji comes from somewhere. Guru Sahib Ji just manifests themselves because they're not gone anywhere, they just are. But they're able to do that. Vaheguru Ji is able to do that for us from our deep desire inside, and create that from our mind for us to be able to see that image physically on the outside as well. So don't doubt these things, because a lot of people nowadays think saying that question nahi hai, like there's nothing, it's all this, it's just your imagination playing games with you. But I feel that imagination, it's not playing games with us, it's like a Guru Sahib Ji feeling a desire of showing us a form that could be created from our mind. That creation is blessed from Vaheguru though. So hopefully we get that. So over here, when we're saying that Vaheguru Ji becomes manifest from inside, it means when we realize, when we can feel Vaheguru Ji to be inside. And it's no more is it outside Gyan. So there's many types of Gyan, many types of wisdom. So there's the wisdom where somebody might, like a mother might say to a child, that fire will burn you. That is also Gyan, that is giving wisdom. But that child hasn't experienced the fire burning it. But it's still wisdom, it's still Gyan, still classed as a Gyan. But then the child thinks, ki pata, saardhi kahi nahi ag saardhi. Then the child puts his or her hand in the fire, burns its hand, and then thinks, and then has the second type of Gyan, the experience, and thinks, sarda hai hath. Yeah, fire definitely burns. And that's Gyan of experience. So there's different types of Gyan as well. So this is that Gyan when you can actually when you're experiencing and feeling Vaheguru Ji to be present. And then I receive, become worthy of respect. And again, it's hard to kind of break this down of looking at what this means. So when we say worthy of respect, just because somebody's become enlightened and is experiencing Vaheguru, that doesn't mean the world is going to think, oh, the whole world's going to start respecting this person. Because we know ourselves, there's many enlightened, there's not many enlightened people, I'll rephrase that. There's very few enlightened people. Most of the world will be thinking they're crazy. They don't get any respect from a lot of people in this world. So when it means that they become tanta, they become worthy of respect, it's like in the true world, in Vaheguru Ji's eyes. And this is when it now gets all complicated. This famous word that I'm sure many of you have heard, called Bana, or over here as it's put is Bane. The third pankti in Suchaji is Bane Takht Badaiyan, Bane Peekh Udas Jiyo. So everyone's heard this word, yes? So God's will, and another word that's used for this is we hear is hukam, which can mean command, order. Okay, so there's a lot of confusion about this whole command and will and God's bana, and so this is a very deep kind of topic to discuss, to be honest. So there's many ways people have described it. One way is that it can mean hukam anusar, accordingly to Vaheguru Ji's divine law. So if you pay attention to the words that are used here, very particular. So when we use the words divine law instead of will or command, even though they mean the same thing, but a lot of the time when we hear the word will or command, we get confused. What does that make us think? That what what's this conception of what will people often say that Waheguru Ji is doing? Everything. So you've heard that saying, yeah. So and a lot of time when we talk about Pana, we talk about Hukam, we talk about will, and we start talking about, yeah, it means that Waheguru Ji, everything is Waheguru Ji. Waheguru Ji is doing everything, and that's how a lot of people start seeing these phrases, and that's why I've chose the word divine law instead.
Concept of free will.
Yeah, so we'll try and cover this a little bit. Another way of looking at the word Pana has been translated to Changa Lagana, pleasing. Okay, so when we say Pa Jana, Usnu Pa Gya, Guru Sahib Ji nu Pa Gya, Guru Sahib Ji nu Changa Lagga. It was pleasing to Guru Sahib, it was pleasing to Waheguru Ji. So Pana also means vaste. So when we say in Punjabi, Ode Pane ta main gusse chi rehna hai. You understand that? So Pane means like in the sense of vaste, like accordingly to such and such person. So it could just mean accordingly to. So we can, when we just, as we say, when we speak in general Punjabi, like I said, that sentence. So I could say that Jatinder Singh, Ede Pani ta bas main rehna hi gusse hai. So according to him, I'm always angry. Yeah, so Pana could come in that context as well. Okay. No, I'm not always gusse with you. Right. So Pana is also translated to Marzi, Icha, choice, desire. Yeah. So when we say that it was Waheguru Ji's choice. So who wants to give this a bit of a? So let's just, sorry, before we do that, let's just quickly go through the other words. Takat, meaning throne, and then Vadanya. So it's a plural word, so we could add a bindi to it. In Punjabi, it would have a bindi to it. I'm not saying to anyone in Gurbani to add a bindi, but I'm just saying some people, there's a school of thought in the Pantha that will add a bindi even whilst reading Gurbani, and some people are completely against adding a bindi. So, but if we went to the Punjabi word, it would be with a bindi. Badanya, so it means greatness. Peak, to beg for alms. So, Udas, everyone know what Udas is? So, Udas is, Indy?
Sad.
Yeah, sad. Another way of looking at it. So that's like the common way we look at it. And when we thinking about in Punjabi in our house again, Udas hi rehda hai. So we'll say like he's always sad. Yeah, but how did it come up in Gurbani mostly? How would you say what Udas?
It's like indifferent, like in a
Oh, the rule of putting hands up. Idda bhi hundi na, fir do jane ikkathe bol pande. Come on, Panji.
Yeah, I thought it was like indifferent or like not attached to something.
Yeah, so Udas can just mean detached as well. Huh? So Udas becoming detached from worldly things, to leave household ways as well. And that's what they refer to as to an Udasi. So this famous word, to understand this whole thing of Bani, Takta Badanya, Bani, Peek, Udas, you, how does this whole will work? How did this hukam work of Waheguru Ji? Is there a concept of free will? Is Waheguru Ji doing everything? How does this all fit in and how does it all work? Literal translation of this Pankti, Guru Sahib is saying that Pane Takta Badanya, that within your divine law, some sit on thrones and receive greatness. And then within your divine law, some detach from the world and beg for alms. Okay, so Pane Takta Badanya, Pane Peek Udas Jiyo. Okay, but we'll try and, well, there you go, got some pictures as well, right, to help us understand what it means. So everyone following the whole concept. So, and we're going to try and get to know what is a Suchaji now through these Panktiyan. So Pana, Hukam, Raza, all these things, all these words that come up. So we've got Hukami Uttam Nij, Hukam Lekh Dukh Sukh Pahiya Hai. How would somebody translate this Pankti? Free will, is there any, does that concept exist? Is it, why are you doing everything? What does hukam mean? What does Pana mean? When we say it's everything's in Waheguruji's hukam, Waheguruji is doing everything, we often hear these things being said. How would you describe that? So some of these, okay, just Uttam means high, yes. Neech means low. So if we just gave a literal translation to this, as it would be normally translated, is saying that within Waheguruji's command, within I think something on those lines. It's normally translated. It'll say hukmi uttam. Some are high, some are low, and hukm lekh dukh sukh paiye hai. And this is written for them. Their dukh, meaning so suffering, and sukh, meaning their comforts and happiness. Paiye hai, they receive all of this within Waheguru Ji's command. How would somebody put that into a sentence and try and make like sense of that, of like, so is that how you think it works? That is Waheguru Ji, so we've got no control of anything. Waheguru Ji is making one person high, one person low, making one person doing bad things, making one person doing good things. Maharaj is giving dukh, suffering to one person, giving sukh, giving peace to one person. Because when we look at the translation, that's how it comes across. That within Waheguru Ji's hukam, all of this is happening. We've got no power to be good or bad. Waheguru Ji is making us bad. Waheguru Ji's, it's all in Waheguru Ji's control. Hukami, within his hukam, within his law.
I think you can take this Bhakti from a different angle depending on your vasta or your lens that you wear in the. So you could take it from the point of view that Waheguru Ji is Karan Karan, he can do anything and he's doing everything, so you could take it from that angle. You could take it from the angle that we, based on our Pichle Karam that we've already done, or likhe gaye hue hain that what dukh and sukh we are meant to have in this life form. And so that is written down, but to accept your parna that we're going to receive these, we accept that it dukh sukh aane because of our pichle action.
So at some point,
but then turning your mind to accept that is walking in Guru's Raza or Hukam. So therefore, in that way, you've got free will, but also you're in his will as well.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
So now, so according to that, at some point, there was free will.
If you look at it in that lens.
Okay.
If you look in a different lens, then everything Waheguru is doing everything.
Okay.
Or
is that a contradiction? I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying it is. I'm just so that there's clarification for Sangat.
Yeah, it would be.
Sorry?
It would be. The contradiction is based on duality anyway. So
would paradox be a better word for it?
Whatever you call it.
Yeah. Because contradiction is saying then it either means that or that. It's like actually opposing each other. And no Bani could be contradicting. So it could be where you're looking at it from.
I think it's the lens that you're looking from.
Okay.
You know, so which angle that you're looking at it from. So there will be some Singhs or Singhs with a vasta that will say, no, Waheguru is doing everything, and they'll feel that almost that they have that gyan, that experience that Waheguru sabkushi kar rahe hain.
So if I ask a question from that, coming off that, so if somebody of that avastha is saying Waheguru is doing everything, so if somebody, a grown adult, this happens obviously, in society, is a paedophile and decides to rape a 5-year-old child, would they say that is Waheguru Ji doing it? Because these are the questions that come up, so it's very important for us to understand these things.
So that's why people struggle.
Okay.
The reason that people don't believe in God is because the bad happens in the world. It's not so much God is the doer, but without God it couldn't be done.
But it also
Okay, so we just expand on that a little bit because we're getting somewhere now.
So basically, it's some people blame God. They say God is the person doing it.
Okay.
But in essence, what Hukam essentially means is without God, that thing that's happening there couldn't have been done.
Okay.
Whether it's good or bad, that's our kind of intellect, isn't it? But we're not saying either of that, good or bad. We're just saying because it's happening, God is the one that's causing it to happen in that sense.
Okay.
He's a force behind that actually happening, and that's the Hukam essentially that's making it happen.
Okay. Baljit, did you want to?
Yeah, I think so when we perceive something as being good or bad, if we take a policy from, and I could be wrong in applying this, so
no problem.
Simmer Sastra Pun Papa Vichar, Tatte Sa Na Jani, Tatte Sa Na Jani Gurdwara, Tatte Sa Na Jani. So it's the actual true essence, rather than the good and the bad. Our avastha goes above that. You know, because the good and the bad is left into the three gun, so the three. So once you kind of look at it from that point of view, so you're past the Tregun, then Waheguru is doing everything.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
It's all right. So I'll try to some extent to try and give a little bit of clarity, but I will have a disclaimer as well to say that it's not possible to give absolute clarity, but a very, very, very humble attempt. So a few ways that we could, so this is like the literal translation, which I should have brought up. So it just says here, by his command, some are high and some are low. By his written command, pain and pleasure are obtained. But then there's also the concept Maharaji talks about is that ape bij, ape hi khaho, which is very famously used, Nanak hukami aab ho jaho. So on one side we're saying that Maharaji is the doer, that is Maharaji is kind of doing everything, and then on the other side we're saying that there's this ability to actually to sow something, to sow a seed, and then from that seed is whatever comes from depending on what we've sown. So trying to understand this to some extent, a way of looking at this is, if we look at this now in the sense of how is, well, let's use the word now law. Law is now a system. So everything works within a system, and nobody is beyond that system. And we could look at those pankti as well. So nobody can escape that system. Everybody is within Waheguruji's divine system. So it's imagine like just this conveyor belt almost just going round accordingly to the way Waheguruji makes it go around. So it could go around this way, it could go around that way, it could go around that way, it could go around this way. We have no power or control whatsoever over that created system, which we call hukam, which we call Waheguruji's divine law. So the way Waheguruji has created this whole system is that has given us that side of ape bij, of creating, of doing an action, because Guru Sahib Ji talks about it. We can't deny that, because it's written many places. Guru Sahib Ji says that de dos na deo kise dos karama apne. He said whatever is doing is due to your own doing. Whatever is happening now, the reaction is from my action. So there's everything is working in this system of cause and effect, but the effect isn't in my hand. The effect is all calculated within Waheguruji's law and system. So I can say that I'm going to do this, but I can't say that I want this to be the reaction. So if I say that I'm going to completely take out the oxygen from this room, and I want to create something that I want to be able to still be able to survive and be able to breathe without oxygen in a particular room, I have no power over that system that Akal Purkh has created. So if I say if I do this, in that sense, what we're saying Waheguruji is doing everything, Waheguruji is the cause, is that Waheguruji has created the system to my action, what is going to happen from that. I'm not in control of that. So the effect comes from Waheguru. The way this all grows, if I've planted something a particular way, and then I can't say I want the result to be this, the result is in Waheguru's hands. From that happens, from that happens. So in that sense, both are true. When we're saying that Waheguruji, so now let's put this pankti into a sentence. When we're saying that hukami, within that divine law that Waheguruji has created, that uttam, neech, that accordingly to my action, what I do, that I can't say by doing this action, I want to become Nima, that I want to be looked upon as lowly, and this action will take me completely down, and I'll be away from Waheguruji. And as we say in the slok as well, when we go through that, the concept of Pavan Guru Pani Pita Mata Tartmahat, Devsarat Doi Dai Daya, Khele Sagad Jagat, Changyaiya, Buryaiya, Vache, Taram, Hadur, Karmi, Apo Apani, Ke Nede, Ke Dur. I have no power in saying that I want to be the creator of that, what takes me there and what takes me there. But He's given me that will to do an action. Under obviously, this is all under the influence of home and duality. But I can't say that I want this action to take me uttam, to make me look high in Waheguru Ji Akal Purkh's akkhan, in Waheguru Ji's eyes. I have no power over Waheguru Ji's system and law. That is all in Waheguru Ji's hand. But when it gets confusing, is this Pangtiyan where Guru Sahib Ji saying that Waheguru Ji is even the cause of your bad actions and good actions. That's when it gets really confusing. Then what works for that is, the way we look at that is, that nothing is possible without that divine jyot that sits inside of us. To understand that, imagine a car without any petrol, even though there's somebody sitting in there, they can't take that car and make that car move and navigate that car anyway. But once that petrol is inside, the petrol doesn't decide which way that car is navigated, but because of that petrol, there's an opportunity given for somebody to navigate that car. You can take it left or right. But without that petrol, it couldn't move anywhere. So when Guru Sahib Ji is saying that he is the cause of even our bad actions, meaning that we couldn't even do bad or good if that jyot is taken out of us. We couldn't see nothing. We at the moment are what we call Chetan Maya. Chetan means that we are Maya, we're an illusion, and we are impermanent. We're that creation within the three Gun. But this isn't going to last forever. But within that, we are what called is Chetan Maya. Chetan means that we have got consciousness. Within consciousness, the way Kalpurk has created us is we've been given an opportunity to do action, to do good or bad. But without the jyot inside of us, we couldn't do any of it. So when Guru Sahib Ji says, because of that jyot, you're even doing good or bad. And it sounds as if it's Waheguru Ji's that's actually doing the action. It's saying because the jyot is there, you've got consciousness. Without the jyot, you wouldn't have no ability to do this or to do that. But then once you do, you have no power over the system of how it works. For is that going to take you close or is that going to take you further away? That system is created by Kalpurk. Is that simple enough? Falling into place a little bit? Okay. So Hukum-e-Andar Sahib ko, nobody can escape that system of a Kalpurk that has created the way everything works, that cause and effect, that action and reaction. Everything that has been created is running, is working underneath that law. So that way now we can't be passive. We can't now get out of saying, well, you know what, if I've not been able to do that, or if I've done that, now that concept now can be removed. Is to say that no, you've been given that opportunity to do, but it's just that it's not in your hands what's going to happen from that doing. That's in Waheguru Ji's hand. So now both works. ਉਹੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਪਰ ਆਪ ਵੀ ਬੰਦਾ ਕੁਝ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਦਾਦੇ ਦੋਸ਼ ਨਾ ਦਿਓ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੋਸ਼ ਕਰਮਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਕੀਆ ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਪਾਇਆ ਦੋਸ਼ ਨਾ ਦੀਜੇ ਅਵਰਜਣਾ what I have done I will reap. I can't blame anyone else for this. And a lot of the time we try and understand these through what's been proved by science. So we think that, well, isn't this what should have happened? So how come somebody's done bad but good's happening to them? Because we're trying to understand it with the mind that we know of, that is from the information of this world. So we're trying to work it all out, thinking, well, no, that this person's done this should have happened. And we're thinking that this should have been the outcome. That person did that, and that person should be in prison. These are all laws made of this world, that if somebody does that, they should be there. There's a law beyond this world, Sacha Aap, Sacha Darbar. There's a court that is made up of absolute truth, that is beyond what the system that has been created by the governments of this world, what the doctors know of this world. The doctors might think, well, you know what, if I cut this nadi, if I cut this particular vein, then this will happen. They might think that, but they might be completely wrong, because that might not be Waheguru Ji's hukam, because according to Kalpurk's law, that actually by doing that, that's going to happen. So this is only subjective to what people have, the wisdom they have got according to their senses of this world. We start to think, well, this is meant to happen according to this. When we say, well, that was a miracle truly is still under Waheguru Ji's divine law. It's something that we could not comprehend. that could happen because it's not been proved by the law of this world, of the science of this world. But with Waheguruji's, according to Waheguru, it could have happened. It's just that we couldn't see it. But then we start calling it a miracle because it's not been proved according to this world yet, to what we know of this world. So Sacha Aap, Sacha Darbar. So when we think somebody's got away with it, nobody gets away with anything. Everything's happening in that system. The reaction is going on. Somebody could be completely at unease in their mind. We're thinking, but they're all right, they've got away with it. But how do we know, according to Waheguru's law, if that person has got away with it? Because we don't know the way the Waheguruji's law works. So we just try and comprehend everything that we know from this world. And then this whole Raza Vich Rehna, this whole thing of like living in acceptance. What does Vivek Buddhi mean? What does it mean to live in acceptance? It means that when we start to understand that I have no power over the reaction of what something happens. So there's this concept in Gurbani where Guru Sahib Ji talks about, and this is where again it gets very confusing for people. Guru Sahib Ji says that Nanakalle sab divas saas neh badan katan tilsar. Anybody know what that means? Nanakalle. Nan means genke. Kalle. Apun kalya gaya. We've been sent after there's been something that's been counted. Nanakalle sab divas saas. Saas means breaths. Our days and breaths have been counted and then we've been sent here. Nanakalle sab divas saas. Then Guru Sahib Ji says that neh badan katan tilsar. Kade na vad sakde na kat sakde til. Not even a little sesame seeds worth. So whatever breaths have been counted for us cannot increase, not even by a little sesame. Not one breath can be over and not one breath can be under. So then it gets confusing again. So we think, somebody asked me a question and said, well, Paji, if that's the case, then if I get a serious illness and instead of me going through the pain of the treatment and put myself through so much grief, that's not going to make any difference to how long I'm going to live because we've come with a set amount of breaths. So I'm going to breathe those breaths and that's it anyway. So I might as well have the choice of not putting myself through all of that. But Guru Sahib Ji is saying that Nanakalle, as soon as we think Nana, we think counting numbers, we think the numbers that we know of. So the numbers that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, they're all created here, aren't they? Waheguruji is Akal, timeless. And Waheguruji's existence in that world, Waheguruji didn't say 10, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are all created here, aren't they? So I was thinking, so it wasn't that Waheguruji said 350,000 Benji for you and 1.2 million breaths for you, Baji. And it wasn't, and I thought it can't be those numbers. These numbers are created here. That is a world of ek. There is no numbers, everything's just a call. And then I was thinking, alright, so Oni chakkar, ek iya fe nganakalle sab divas saas. But we've been sent with a set amount of breaths, meaning that they aren't limitless, they are limited. They're not that you've got 535,000, it means that they are limited, that one day, no matter what, they will run out. Yeah? So, Nanakalle, so we've been sent with a limited amount of breaths, don't put a number to them. That's how often it's translated, and I've seen many people translate it, and it's just confused myself, and I feel many people. Nanakalle sab divas saas, all our breaths, I mean, according to the days we're going to live, that they're numbered, they're going to come to an end. Then Guru Sahib says, ne badan katan tilsar, that na vad sagde na kat sagde, they can't increase or decrease. So I was thinking, does that mean they can't go from 1.2 million to 1.3, or does that mean it can't go from like 3 to 4 or from 2 to 1? I thought, no, it doesn't mean that as well. That neh badan, it means that I have no power, I can't change that law and that system the way Waheguruji has made something to say that if I do this action and that action means that I'm going to now only take this amount of breaths, that I can't change that law from that action that I want now my breaths to be more or less. It's going to be whatever the law is according to that action, what breaths I'm going to have. Not what the doctor thinks, Not what anyone thinks, not what the science thinks, but to that law that we can't even comprehend, can't even understand. So then what happens is, what does that mean? One person might say that, well, that person, if you do the operation, that is the action, and they might live longer. But from that operation, the reaction from that is according to the divine law, that now this is what the reaction will be. You will have this amount of breaths left now. But if I took that option, I can't be empowered to say, well, no, I want them to be 50 here and I want them to be 60 there. That's not in my hands. But the action is in my hand. I can decide to do the operation or not. I can't decide that what the reaction is going to be, how many breaths. I can't increase or decrease them. That will be according to the law that Kalpurk has created. So if I don't do the operation, then I might only take 40 more breaths. If I do the operation, I might take 70. It might be vice versa. They might get something wrong in the operation. It might end up being 20 there and 50 there. So it's not getting too confusing, is it?
I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused by that. So you're saying that, say the last bit again about the choosing the operation or not. I didn't quite.
Okay. So imagine now, when we say that it's not in our hands, that it's according to Waheguruji's hukam. Hukam meaning, so imagine now, so the action is that we've done the operation. That's the action. So the outcome from the action might be according to Waheguruji's law, for argument's sake, it's going to give us now 100 breaths. According to Waheguruji's law, that's how it's going to work. Okay? I can't, it's not in my hands. I have no power to say by me doing this action, I want it to be this amount of breaths. वो मेरे हाथ च नहीं. But and then I could decide not to do the operation. According to that, I might take only another 40 breaths, as opposed to whatever I said there. So what you're saying is that
the decisions we make
Yeah.
in life will depend on how many swas we're going to take.
Yes, but the outcome of that we have no power over. That is the hukam. So the law is of whatever the reaction is from that action. Because then it doesn't matter. Then I can do whatever I want with my life. I can smoke it out. I can do whatever, and it's not going to determine at all. It's not going to make no difference how long I live or anything. Because then, if we keep translating things like that, then you know the people on that side, on the dark side, if you want to call it, it gives them that whole, it empowers them to say, don't matter, does it?
So
No.
that makes more dogma, then it makes more duality to say that if we did one certain way, that's enough the other way.
But we don't know that. We don't know, because that is according to Kalpurk's law, and we don't know. That's what I'm saying. So it's not that operation might necessarily give you more breaths. That is according to Waheguruji's law, and until we don't actually have access to that law and we can see it, we don't know.
So you're saying therefore that the law is unpredictable, it's not predetermined?
No, it's the Waheguruji knows its law, but we don't unless we get to that avastha and we could even know the law.
For example, when you come to the operation, if we don't go with the operation, we're going to have a certain amount of swas or days or however you want to do the ginti.
Yep.
So that would mean that based upon our decision, that everything in the future will depend on that, because everything that you do has a knock-on effect. Yeah, so surely then you can't predict what the future is going to be, because we don't know how someone's going to make a decision. So that completely goes against Gurmat.
In which sense?
Because you're saying that you cannot predict how the world's going to turn out, because everyone's got a choice to make, and depending on that, the law of Waheguruji is going to be applied upon that actual definitive action. And so therefore you cannot predict what's going to happen in the future. So that goes against some of the sakya that the Guru Sahibs have done, that we've heard about the Guru Sahib. It goes against, it doesn't really fit in with that.
For example, like with Saki?
It doesn't come to mind. ਜਦੋਂ Guru Sahib ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਐਦਾਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ when Bhai Madana ji used to be with Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਇਸ਼ਾਰਾ ਦੇ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, don't worry, we'll be okay, ਉਹ ਅੱਗੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਖਾ ਲਾਂਗੇ, ਅੰਤਰਜਾਮੀ ਸੀਗੇ.
Yeah, so in that sense, the way I see that is Viji, like, somebody could get to that avastha, to that state of mind, and they could, like, you know, when you could just see which way somebody's going and what action they're going to do, because your avastha is so high that you it's not that it's all planned out, but you could see that now from the mindset they're at or whatever, that this is the way they're going to go, and if they go and them going that way, that is going to be the outcome, because they know the outcome. That's person that has reached that avastha, that person that gets to Gur Prasadi Jeevat Mare, Hukme Bujje Soe, they actually get to understand the hukam. So they actually get to understand how the whole system is working and what goes which way. So that system we're still trying to comprehend with our own mind here. So we're saying that, and we're trying to understand time as well. And because when Guru Sahib is saying that Sabna Likhya Vudi Kalam, that everything has been written with a kalam, with a pen that is forever, that never comes to an end. That Sada Chaladi Jidi Kalam hai, what would he say in English? Sorry? Free flowing. So what we're trying to work out is like kind of this concept of like past, future and present, when with a Kalpurk's time is forever present, and everything is like kind of there's just a constant flowing pen. So when somebody with like Sresht Buddhi, they can see like this person now, according to the mat that they've got, the intellect they've got, and what they're doing with that intellect, they're going to make this decision. And they know from according to Kalpurk's law, from that decision, this is going to occur. But everything just opens for them. And everything is just, nothing's hidden from that person. Like Guru Sahib says, Gur Prasadi, with Guru Sahib's grace, Jeevat Mare, when they reach the avastha of Jeevat Mare, when they're dead whilst they're alive, which means when you've conquered all your senses and everything else, and you've conquered your ego, they are able to that hukam bujje soye, they're able to understand how the whole plan, how the whole game is working, that is making us go there, that is making us go there. The way that person has interpreted that, the way that they've got that mat in them, they've got that intellect in them, from that they're going to do that, from that action that's going to happen in that, from there they can just see how this game is all, where it's going. Because even that could be within the hukam, how, because we're still trying to, at the moment, because until we're not there, we can't even define which part is the action and which part is the reaction sometimes. So I'm just giving you motiya masala, which is like really kind of like out kind of outside examples. So when I'm saying that is definitely the action, it's hard for us to define even which part is the action and reaction. If you know what I mean? Hana? Until we actually see and get it. So look, quickly before I'll let you finish, and we'll just come back to this, like what this whole arrow thing mean, what it means to remain in acceptance. Like my disclaimer, hukmi hoon akar, hukum na kahya jai. Yeah, I can't really explain it, to be honest, because I'm not there. I'm just giving it a shot. Because the reason why I'm giving it a shot is that I can't just leave it. I can't just have a word like pana come up in a pankti and not even attempt to explain it to some extent to the Sangat. Because even if we can give some form of clarification to some point where it could help Sangat, because that prachar is very dangerous when we leave people at that Waheguruji is doing everything and not explaining in which sense. A lot of people become passive and thinking, Mere haath ta kuch nahi. If at the moment this is what my life is about, is robbing people, looting people, hurting people and raping, whatever I'm doing, then that is in his hands. And it kind of makes people just like think they've got absolute no power to do anything. They think, I can't wake up in the morning, just whatever, I ain't going to bother putting no alarm, and that's up to him. Like, do you get it? That prachar is killing people. That prachar is making people passive and so confused. So even if we're not doing Brahmgyan level arth here, if we can just kind of come here a little bit and look at it from this perspective, which most of the population is in that place, because it's probably, I would say, out of 8 billion people, Guru Tegh Bahadur says, Kotan mein Nanak ko Narayan je cheet. There's a few in a million. Yeah, so when you do a count up amongst billions, there's probably, I would say, there ain't going to be a lot. There ain't going to be many that are actually looking at it from that perspective. We've got to try and understand it from a lower perspective that is going to help the majority of the people of this world. Guru Sahib Ji says the most siyana doctor is that person that is able to understand the rog of that particular the problem of that particular person and give them the right medicine for where their problem is at. Rog daru dove bujje ta vaid sujan. They said that doctor is a wise doctor that is able to give the correct medicine according to where somebody's problem is. And what we tend to do is talk Brahm Gyan. We're not there ourselves. We don't actually get it ourselves, but we just make these statements. Oh, he sara kuch karda. And then it actually can break more people than actually fix people. It could make somebody that enjoys being a paedophile being very comfortable at remaining being a paedophile. So we've got to now understand this. We should do more prachar of that. You've been given this free will to do action, because we can't take that out of Gurbani. "Eh srira mera is jag mein hai ke kya tud karm kamaya." So Guru Sahib is saying, what action have you done? This is that shubh amala bajo dono roi, that without good actions you're going to all cry. Guru Sahib is talking about actions again and again and again, meaning that we need to talk at that level too. But I think up to the point and level we've been able to explain it, I think can help a lot of people, I feel anyway. But the complete hukam, how it actually works, the reactions from the actions, I don't know yet. I'd hope to know one day. Yeah. And at the moment, it can't be said. Even if you know it, it can't be said.
Vaheguru